Welcome to Open Caller, the show where for this week, one of us has a ticket to paradise. I am Cory Steve McCoy, and I feel like I'm like Jake Tapper, and you're on like setting out to the field live on location.
Live on location, I am Steve McCoy. This is a new bit for Open Caller, so we'll see if
Right.
this works.
You are down at the U.S. border telling us what is going on with the migrant situation.
Yeah, so it's definitely sunny. It's definitely warm.
Mhm.
If I were to be asked what the deal is with the migrant situation, I'd be like, why would you want to leave? Because it is absolutely gorgeous here right now. Live in Mexico.
It's just dark here.
What is it like in Ottawa? I mean, we are
Uh
old. We are old men, so let's
yes.
just,
So the weather,
you know,
the
let's
weather
get this out of the way.
conversation. Yeah, I gotta. It was bad. It was like 8 and sun. Definitely looks like spring, but it's gonna be a shit show for the next couple days.
Oh, I would be lying if I said that I am sorry for you,
No,
but I'm not because
no,
I'm
you are
extremely happy that I
you
am down
lies,
south.
lies.
We are not only we're skipping over the United States, going straight to Mexico, live from Mexico.
Hey, how's the wall situation? Is it getting built or?
You know what? I put a few cinder blocks. Like that was part of the ask of coming down was,
It's when you're
so
at the
can
resort,
you,
right? Because they're paying
right?
for it.
Yeah. So we're gonna sign you up for your excursions,
Mm-hmm.
the scuba diving, the diving, whatever. But then we're gonna pencil you in for wall building.
Love
So
it.
I've been doing that. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing.
So you were there at Christmas time. This is the same place, or well?
Same place. So when I went at Christmas, or when we went at Christmas, my family and I.
Mm-hmm.
We were about 10 minutes away. And this is what the whole. Okay, so we're going to crack this egg open on
All right,
Open
here we go.
Collar. So I'm here for my brother's wedding. God love him. Devin, my youngest brother, is getting married. Great.
Mm.
Looking forward to that. But we were all down here at Christmas. And we had asked him, like, why don't we get married at Christmas? We're already coming down, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, and he's like, well, there were some people on the other side of the family that found it to be too expensive. So we're going to pivot to
Yeah.
March break, where it's it's equal price, if not more expensive. Um, I might be like shooting myself in the foot here saying this because I've got to do a speech in a few days, but um, yeah,
Well, if they make you spend your dough one time and they have to make you spend it another time, this marriage better last. It better not be a
it
damn third
fucking
time.
it better because so the trail of, and again, God love my brother, great guy. The trail was, oh, we're gonna get married in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's too expensive.
Right.
We're gonna get married in Dawson Creek where they live in BC. Okay, well, no, there's not enough hotels to accommodate the amount of people. Okay, we're gonna get married in Arizona. Okay, we're gonna get married in Cabo because it's Christmas.
Mm.
And then we're gonna get married in March break in Cabo because people decided that it was too expensive at Christmas. Yet here we are,
Yeah.
March
Just
break.
say.
It is busy here,
Oh
Corey.
no, you don't
Busy.
say.
Yeah, busy. But if I can just say that, because I'm flying from, or I'm the only one in Ottawa,
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to Montreal, fly
Yeah.
down. Everyone else is um, coming from Calgary or Dawson Creek,
Mm-hmm.
which is in Alberta. The only flights I could get were arrive 2 days early, leave 2 days early.
Hmm.
So I've been here for 2 days by myself.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, I hope the family back home is watching.
Yeah, I told Jade, I said, you start watching, but after the first 10 minutes, just let us get through this
It's
first.
only been 5. It's only been
I
5,
miss
and you've already
them.
talked about
Oh,
how.
I
Yeah,
miss them
I
so
hate. You
much.
know what? I'm not going back.
I miss them so much. Yeah. No, it's great though. It's you need it every once in a while. You need to be able to just be by yourself and you know
Yeah, you gotta like reset, right? Reset the
exactly.
reboot, recharge, all of those other um, expressions. Hey, so I was off today. We went out shopping. Look at this grand find that we found at the Village Value location.
I swear to God, if you found the Nova, I'll be pissed.
No, even better. Ba boom! Here's your
Oh
sleeping bag.
shit.
So sleep over my house.
That's amazing.
TMNT, clearly circa 1985,
Which is the best circuit to go with
right?
if you're going with TMNT.
And which at this point, 6 minutes in, as you know, we're talking about an image. So youtube.com/ at open color pod if you want to see what the hell we're talking about. So yeah, Ninja Turtles sleeping bag. It,
So just did you grab just one or did you grab two or
well, there's only one at the Value Village, right? It's the thrift store. You're not gonna get like a rack
amazing?
full. Although if they would, I probably would have.
So you've watched it, and when is the first time you're going to use it?
It's gonna be Parker using it. I'm way too. I looked at it like there's no way I'm fitting in
Oh,
there.
you were totally going to use it. Come on now.
Yeah, oh, no, yeah, for sure. I would have to have it unzipped and pulled over. I guess I can't zip myself in there. No sack race or anything with it.
That's friggin' awesome. I love it.
Thrift, right? Sometimes the
It
gems are there.
that is totally the case because you can go there and you can find like items like this where it's a Ninja
Mhm.
Turtle sleeping bag. You can find hoodies. You can find anything, and it's just you just got to put in the time to actually look for it, right?
Yeah, I've seen people there many a time when that just seem like they're like the lifers, the ones that go every day. That's like what they do, right? And there's people who make businesses out of it.
I was just gonna say like there is a business model out there that exists where you can go and it's almost like the storage wars that you'd see,
Hmm.
right? Where you kind of go and you find whatever you can find, and someone wants something at a certain price.
Yeah, it seems like this one's more the less risk than that Storage Wars show. You know, where you bid on the locker and not knowing what's in it.
Have you ever wanted to do that?
No, I don't like risking. Like I don't gamble or anything, so
Right.
I don't. I don't want to take the chance. But I would be. It would be nice, like to stumble upon, you know,
So,
thing of long boxes. You know, find the gem.
so how long have you worked at your current place of employment? How many years has it been?
18 or 19.
Do you recall the name David Jelly?
Yep.
Yeah. So I work with him at Rogers, and he is one of those individuals. Shout out
Hmm.
to David Jelly, great guy. He's one of those individuals that will go to a storage unit and
Yep.
bid on, empty storages or storages that are, you know, up for auction, I guess
Hmm.
you could say. And he sometimes finds like gems, hidden
Hmm.
gems. And I mean, a hidden gem could be whatever you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
But I've secretly always wanted to do that. but I've never done it.
and pull the trigger, eh? Is that like a big thing here, or you have to go somewhere else, like travel for it?
No, well, I mean, before meeting Dave, I would have thought that it's like you have to travel for it, but I
Mhm.
think it's anywhere. You can go to
Any mini
any
storage lot or
storage.
something? Yeah.
Yeah, I part of me thinks like, you know what? If I had an extra $1,000, like who knows? It could be 500, it could be 200, could be 1,000. But throw down some money and just take a stab at it.
Take a shot. All right. Now that's enough catching up. We got business to discuss. So, you wanted to discuss Fallout.
Yeah.
So, I watched the trailer, and then we'll talk about what the game is, and then go from there.
Okay.
So, let's play. Amazon Prime.
Hello there. I'm here to show you a wonderful place. A veritable Camelot of the nuclear age. Not made by God Almighty, but the working man. You can be a hero by purchasing a residence in a Vault-Tec vault today. Because if the worst should happen tomorrow, the world is going to need you to build a better day after.
Does it say nuke you?
Honestly.
The mission of the vaults should be important to everyone. To come up to the surface one day and restart civilization. Can you tell me what's happened in the last 200 years?
Holy shit. You're an actual vault dweller.
I am.
I thought all you dipshits were dead.
What you're doing is insane.
I don't want to set the world
It isn't like the vault out there. It's big.
higher. I just want to start.
I've had a rough week.
Flaming
Practically every person I've met up here has tried to kill me.
I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
in my
You need to go home. You come from a world of rules, of laws. You should not be alone.
Why did you join the Brotherhood?
To hurt the people who hurt me?
People are going to come after you.
Ain't much stage cleanup here, Vaulty. Well, now that is a very small drop in a very, very large bucket of drugs. You look out at this wasteland, looks like chaos, but there's always somebody behind the wheel.
What is happening here?
Everyone wants to save the world. They disagree on how.
There you are, you little killer.
All right. So, Fallout. So the game's it's a game series. The original game came out in 1997, and as
Oh my
plot
God,
of the game,
really?
the plot of the game is it's set in October 23rd of 2077. It's a fallout of a global nuclear war between the United States and China, and then obviously,
Okay.
as we've seen from this, the show's pretty much the same. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if it's doing the same thing because they didn't really notice much conflict, like how it started. More takes place after. But yeah, there's been quite a few There's been 4 iterations with another one set to come out. TBA.
So
Different
there's
spin-offs and
something I love about this trailer and something I hate about this trailer.
Walter Goggins is what you love. Walter Goggins is a gem.
He really is though, and it is such an intriguing trailer. And again, so I'm coming from the position of I know nothing about the game. I've never played it. Don't know what the premise is or whatnot. So the trailer is very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
But then you flip the coin, and I find that it's a bit long. Like they're trying to feed you the whole story.
Yeah.
And again, this is without me knowing what it's about. So maybe they're not giving you the whole story, but to me, as someone casual viewer, someone who will want to see it, watches the trailer, like it's a bit,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. But having said that, I think I love post-apocalyptic movies and TV shows, and I think if that's the premise, I'm locked in. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there's something about not the end of the world per se, but knowing that seeing a world that is similar to ours but not exactly like it.
So, have you played the game?
I have not. No, I'm not. I don't branch too far from my wheelhouse of video games. Growing up is mainly licensed IP from like Marvel, DC, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and then sports.
Was this exclusive to like Nintendo, or like is this an exclusive?
I know it's been on.
Like I know nothing
it's been on
about
PC.
the game.
It's on PlayStation 2, 3, 4, 5, Xbox, iOS, Android.
Okay.
Different spin-offs and things like that. Yeah, no, it's all over the place.
It's a great trailer. Like and the fact that they drop all episodes when it releases.
I'm curious about that because Netflix, that's a Netflix thing, but Amazon's kind of been, we'll give you 3 and then go week by week. I know, especially that's how The Boys was released, and Jack Ryan was the same way. Was week over week. So I don't know if this is no faith in it that they're dropping or just something different they're trying.
Sorry, I just had someone come in and try to clean the room. No, I'm good. I missed the last 30 seconds.
Hampered. No, I'm just saying. My only thing is because Netflix doesn't typically drop everything at once. If this is a bad omen or a good omen, they want to try to hook everybody in by dropping it all at once.
Yeah, you know what? Like when it comes to the post-apocalyptic type genre, I mean, I'm in. I'm all in. And I was thinking about today. Like I sent you the trailer on Instagram just to have a look or whatnot. And I'm thinking, like, you know what? Like, are we becoming a society of expecting the worst of what will happen, that we just gravitate towards shows like this where we just, we'll love it? Well,
Flat out, yes.
And it is, though, But I am very much excited about, like, and again, this is me coming, like, I know nothing about, never played the video game. Don't know the premise, but what they showed me in the trailer that we just watched, yeah, I'm all in.
It's cool. We had The Walking Dead, The Last of Us, like, yeah, just it's almost as if like our lives are so bad we want to see other people suffer too.
So obviously, without seeing this, if you were to say in the last 10 years, what is the best post-apocalyptic TV show or movie that you've seen? Is it The Walking Dead?
I would say The Walking Dead to a point. Like, it really fell off the rails as it went on. That's a good question. Last of Us was good. That's a tough one. Like a lot of the ones that I've liked seem to be taking place at the fall of like society. Like World War Z, I like enjoyed, and that's like right as at the like the drop of that, or like Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Is that a post-apocalyptic movie?
Well, it's like there's an alien invasion, and like you're trying to stop the end of the world.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Okay.
But it's like Groundhog Day. He's in a time loop. So like,
right, because he goes back to try and fix.
Yeah. So as
what he does wrong, and
yeah, like they're and like War of the Worlds as well. Another fall of civilization. If I truthfully, I would say probably the best post-apocalyptic one I would say in it would be Planet of the Apes, or War of the Planet of the Apes, the remake that Matt Reeves did, or the reboot franchise. So that one I enjoyed.
That is actually, now that I'm done Daredevil, that's my next go-to, is to kind of catch up on the War of the Planets or whatever.
Apes.
The apes.
We talking Heston or just the new ones?
Well, I mean, I'd be open to whatever the viewing order is. Like, is there any lineage between the newer movies to the older movies, or is it just like the newer movies are its own?
It's kind of like there's like homages to it, but it's not the same. Okay. It seems like it's trying to set it up, but it doesn't really. It's its own thing now. But yeah, so just Rise of the Planet of the Apes. What was the second one called? Now that I Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then War.
Right. Yeah. I'm such a puss because I badly want to watch Last of Us. Like I want to watch it, but I don't know that I can. I feel like I would be frightening.
No, it's not. Like it's very, like I said, for a movie that's about zombies, it's a very human story. It's not like The Walking Dead at all.
And same with World War Z. Would you say that that's one?
World War Z is a PG-13 movie, so there's no real gore in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
It's got some jump scares, but not much.
Because
it's more about just going from Brad Pitt's character is like he works for the UN, so he's going from like country to country trying to find out what the hell's going on and try to find a cure.
Yeah. He's a journalist. If
that's it's a very loose take on the book.
See, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm very intrigued by The Last of Us, by World War Z, by these other zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the only reason why I watched The Walking Dead for the first 4 seasons was because I read the comic book. But I am a puss where I don't know if I could actually get through the movie or the TV series or whatever.
But if Walking Dead definitely.
I stopped at the Governor.
Yeah, after the Governor, they kind of really went for the gore factor.
Yeah.
And like trying to up the ante with the kills. Like there's one, like it's tough because they're in. By the time you get around to finishing it, you'll forget all about what I'm telling you. There's a scene where Glenn and this character Noah, they're in like a like an office building.
Doesn't Glenn die by Negan? Doesn't Negan kill?
This is before that.
Okay.
So a bunch of walkers are coming, so they try to escape. But they have a revolving door that they're going through. So Glenn goes through, and it's a revolving door. Mm-hmm. So as the door's moving, Noah can't get in, and so he can't obviously let him in, or because the whole horde is going to get him. So it's basically him trying to get in, banging on the glass, and Glenn's sitting there watching as they're all like consuming Noah. It's a tough sit. Because like the guy's he can't go anywhere. He's in a glass. Like there's nowhere else.
He's stuck where he is. Yeah.
The guy's watching him get eaten in front of him. And that's
so I guess just going back to Fallout, like knowing nothing about the video game or whatever, the trailer sold me. Like I am, and they're dropping all episodes at once. So
Walter got them.
And
Loggins is at it. Yeah. You guys are
like it's very intriguing. It's very intriguing.
You a Mad Max guy too, or did you watch the new one?
No, I haven't watched the new
Post-apocalyptic. What are your feelings on Waterworld?
See, I love Waterworld though. But I love it though. I love it.
I know it got shit on so much, but it is not that terrible. Like,
You know what
it's
though?
you can sit and watch
But
and consume it and not like there's some stupid things in obviously,
for
but it's
sure.
not the worst thing made. That it's not like there's Madam Web and then there's Waterworld.
But it literally got shit on from a producer's perspective, where it got shit on for the amount of money it took to film that movie. But the movie itself is amazing. Like
you got Dennis Hopper, like come on.
What's that, sorry?
You get Dennis Hopper as the villain, come on.
Yeah, and you just like it was the first of its kind, I would say. I mean, there could be movies before that, but it was the first of its kind to my recollection anywhere, where it showed this is what like a post-apocalyptic world would look like.
Yeah.
And they
what happens when they
go
polar
out,
ice caps melt?
Yeah, and they go and they find what would be like fucking Mount Everest or whatever, and they
they're
would
trying to
find
their dry land.
So I think it's good. Like if you take, yes, it costs a lot of money to make it. It burned through a lot of dough that the producers were putting out, but if you remove all that, it's actually a pretty good movie. And I mean, honestly, it's Kevin Costner. Anything Kevin Costner makes is gold, in my opinion. I'm a huge Kevin Costner fan, so whatever he does, I'll buy into it. I'll subscribe.
You a Yellowstone viewer?
No, actually, I'm not. So here's funny thing about Yellowstone.
Oh, there's limits to what you would watch for Kevin Costner.
So you may recall, Cory, that we had an episode probably in the 90s of all of the television shows that we
It was a 3-hour episode, and 90 minutes was just your list. I think you did actually. Now I'm remembering, you did mention Yellowstone. You jumped in like season 4.
Season 4.
Yeah.
Watched the first episode. We're like, oh my god, this is very aggressive in terms of filmmaking. And I hope the backstory fills it up. And we mistakenly started on season 4 instead of season 1. So
since I'm talking Waterworld, I saw this. So this is a map of the world if the sea levels rise. So I guess go up 9,000 meters. So look at
so Canada. We're underwater.
Yeah, there's a good chunk there's a good chunk that's still around. But
sorry, so this is a map of what if the sea levels rose?
I guess from 9,000 meters.
That's a lot.
So I'm thinking, you just go to the West Coast. You're all right. You have to travel that far.
But 9,000 meters, Cory, that's a big number.
Well, you got it in meters.
And
what's that in feet?
You have like Spain, and they're all good. We're fine, but we're in a valley. Actually, put that map up again. If it were to happen today, and me being in Mexico, would it be okay?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
I would be fine.
See, yes. So just stay there. We're coming to you.
Yes. Yes. Sir, your transportation to the airport is leaving today. No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm gonna stay.
So, you're not familiar with Fallout, but how are you with Pop-Tarts?
Oh, I love Pop-Tarts.
But coming this May, Jerry Seinfeld has a Pop-Tart movie coming out.
What?
Yeah, it's called Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart Story. You didn't hear about this?
Okay.
I just found with
no.
So
sorry.
The premise
so the premise is like this is him as the creator of Pop-Tarts, and
so it's set in 1963 when Kellogg's and Post cereal compete to see if they can produce a revolutionary breakfast pastry in 1963's Michigan.
Oh, I hope this is streaming and not going to theater.
Oh yeah, it's Netflix.
Okay.
So directed by Jerry, starring Jerry. It's written by Spike Firestein and Jerry and a couple others, but it's got a pretty solid cast. Melissa McCarthy, Jim Gaffigan, Amy Schumer, James Marsden, Jack McBrayer, Thomas Lennon, Bobby Moynihan, Max Greenfeld, Bill Burr, Dan Levy,
Love
Christian
Bobby
Slater,
Moynihan.
and Hugh Grant, the Hugh Grant, who is Tony the Tiger.
The evil person, of course. He's the evil person. It's like, let's get this English guy just to come, and I'm amazed that he actually signed up for it.
Great.
It'd be great.
So yeah, that's coming this May to a
Do you
breakfast table
feel
near you.
like this is, if you, what was the movie that Kevin Costner did where he was the founder of McDonald's?
No, that was Michael Keaton.
Or sorry, Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah, Roy Kraft is the founder.
The founder.
Yeah, it was called.
Do you feel like this should have came out hot off the heels of that, or because I don't know, like who's clamoring for oh my god, the history of Pop-Tarts? Like what's the history of Pop-Tarts?
Well, let me tell you, we'll find out in May. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. Like my kids ask for Pop-Tarts every time we go to the grocery store, but I'm not buying them every time. And then when we do, we space them out and we get them to enjoy it as a treat.
Yeah. You're not popping that in the toaster every Monday morning and.
Oh, I mean, but yeah, like when we were kids, we were having them.
Yeah, it was that
so
was your
much
breakfast.
More than
that
was honestly, it was quick. And
here's your whole packet. Go eat 2 of them and you're out the door.
100%. And when we were kids and they were toasted and they were warm,
mm-hmm.
we had the mindset of like, well, it's a warm breakfast, so it's got to be good.
Of course, if you could heat it up, it's healthy.
That's right. That's it.
If you put those gummy bears in your pocket and they warm up and they're soft, it's therefore healthy and nutritious.
Who doesn't know that, honestly? Right?
If I learned anything from Ferris Bueller and that girl on the bus when she's offering Mr. Rooney a gummy bear, it's been sitting in her pocket, so it's warm and soft.
So was Jerry Seinfeld a huge Pop-Tarts dude, or was he paid lots of money to be a part of that movie?
Yeah, I think he was just sitting at home with his billions of dollars and eating a Pop-Tart, thinking, you know what? I always wondered what is the story on this.
He's watching season 9, episode whatever of Seinfeld, the last one where they're in the jail cell, and he's like, you know what? I think we need to talk about Pop-Tarts.
Why is no one talking about Pop-Tarts?
Why? That's it. That's exactly it. Why is no one talking about Jesus Christ? If he were to, that's how you make the movie, Cory, is you get him to start off like a Seinfeld movie and then jump right into it.
Yeah.
Why is no one talking
about Pop-Tarts? Yeah. They pop and they're tart.
And they're how do you get the flavors to be warm? My Seinfeld.
Have you ever been Pop-Tart shopping in the States? Because there's like an entire dedicated aisle at the Walmart.
No.
There's like 30 flavors. Like it's insane.
And I can honestly tell you, I've met a number of Americans since I've been here, and Pop-Tarts has not come up in conversation, but I think now it might have to.
Okay.
To be like, what's your stance on Pop-Tarts? Just throw them off the bus. Yeah?
You might start some sort of like fight.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
we go. We can communicate about Trump and Biden, but Pop-Tarts, my God.
There's your national divide. So here are the new Pop-Tart flavors, and then I'll go into what they list as the favorites. We have frosted apple cinnamon Apple Jacks, frosted banana bread. They all say frosted, so I'm going to stop saying frosted. Chocolatey chip pancake, cinnamon roll Pop-Tart bites, and strawberry milkshake.
That sounds good. That last one sounds really good.
Right, so these are the favorites. Blueberry, which we all know, it's a staple.
Hold on. I've never had blueberry before.
Neither have I, but I've seen them. It's ones everyone seems to avoid in the store. They're the ones that are always left. Boston cream donut. Brown sugar cinnamon.
Yeah.
Cherry. Chocolate chip.
For sure. Yeah.
Chocolate fudge. Confetti cupcake. Cookies and cream. There's grape. I've never heard of grape.
Never heard grape and never heard of cookies and cream. So
Hot fudge sundae. Oh, here we go. Strawberry, raspberry,
yes.
s'mores,
Yeah.
wildlicious, wild berry, frosted harvest strawberry, snickerdoodle, and then we get into the unfrosted repeats.
So as Canadians,
Mm-hmm.
that list is all over the map.
Yeah, we got like
Because
4.
yeah, honestly, we've got maybe 4, 5, 6 on a good day of ones that we've heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Because you rhymed off how many there? Like 12, 15?
Yeah, that's just
And
listed
I
on the website.
think,
There's more.
yeah, see, let's make a movie.
Yeah.
Let's make a movie.
This movie must be told.
That's right. My God, there's so many other
Just chocolate
topics.
strawberry,
There's so many, Corey, there's so many other topics that I can
wild
come
cherry,
up with where wild cherry, okay, I've had that, yeah.
chocolate chip cookie dough,
No.
and the list goes on. But yeah, we need to know. This needs to be viewed by
Yeah.
somebody.
Okay.
Not me.
And Canadians everywhere will tune out 45 minutes into the movie because they haven't heard of half of the.
Yeah, as soon as they get past the blueberry that nobody buys.
You know what though? It's a coincidence that you bring this up because for a while now I've been thinking I need to watch the Founder movie with Michael
Yes,
Keaton.
it is good. I enjoyed it.
And the only reason why is because of that one scene that I think is the one that goes most viral on social media where he goes to the counter, orders his burger,
Mhm.
and the guy turns around and gives it to him right away, and he's
Yep.
just flabbergasted by. So I think I need to see that.
Well, that's what you
And
learn in
if
the
we-
movie. It's the whole point of McDonald's is like none of the processes are like, yeah, well, just keep it process. None of the process is more than 3 steps, which is why it's so quick.
Right. Okay.
You know, fries. You push this your basket here. Fries come in. Fries go into the fryer. Done. It beeps. Take it out. Dump. Boom. That's 1, 2, 3, and you move on.
Now, having worked at McDonald's in my youth,
And that's why it's so easy for kids to pick it up because again, it's 1, 2, 3. Serve.
there are more steps than that, though. I mean,
Okay, you gotta salt the fries. Excuse me. That's
yeah. So listen, I used to work at McDonald's and I was at the cash one time and I will never forget this one person was like, I want to have French fries. I
Mhm.
want them unsalted. And it was a whole clusterfuck of, okay, we've got to literally had to wipe out the French fry dispenser, you know, like the ones where they dump had to wipe it all down, cook brand new ones, dump them in, give it to her, like, are these to your satisfaction? And thank God she said yes.
Out. You gotta like shut the whole floor down. You gotta. It's like you gotta call like a hazmat team in, and
that's what it felt like. It felt like I was putting on a hazmat suit for unsalted French fries. Maybe I should have.
The oil too.
No, it wasn't that.
Because you salt after. Yeah, you salt after.
But you know what? Fast forward 20 years in today's world, that could be a thing. I want fresh oil.
Just get out. The store is
honestly.
You are no longer welcome at this establishment.
And I remember vividly thinking about this when I was working where they're going through that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it still rings true today is that you came to McDonald's to order food.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to make it healthy? Like you were coming to McDonald's.
Yeah.
To have like that break in your everyday healthy life and whatever. You're trying to manipulate the system. Like, no, you're fucking here. Like,
yeah,
you are here.
I'll get the supersize the fry. I'll have the bacon cheeseburger, extra cheese, and Diet Coke. Gotta watch the belly there.
Yeah, because you know I gotta watch my calories, right? So, my God. Yeah.
Ironically, since we talked about him twice, this is very ironic. Beetlejuice sequel's coming out. I still think it won't. They've been talking about it forever, but
What do you mean you don't think it won't? Like it won't
it's just a
meet
running
the
gag going on. They've been talking about it since like the 90s that the sequel to Beetlejuice was coming, and I don't know. Part of me feels like we'll never see that movie just because I'm, negative. Anyhow.
Really quickly, I turned my phone sideways. Are we still good video wise?
Yeah. Now there's no
Okay,
black
good.
bars on the side.
Okay, good. What's with all the hate on
There's no
Beetlejuice?
hate. I love Beetlejuice. I watched Beetlejuice like last weekend for like the 11th millionth time. Part of me is just still skeptical that while they've made the movie, it might not ever come out because reasons.
But why won't it come out? Like, what's
It will
holding
come
it back?
out. It's just me being silly.
So let me ask you, Beetlejuice is a masterpiece of comedic genius by Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
And is the funniest part not when he comes out and he grabs his junk and he's like honk honk and he just comes
Nice
out
fucking model. Yeah.
like so good, so good.
So I was reading that the look was entirely by his design. He kind of asked like when he got the role, it was like, what does this guy look like? And they were kind of like talking about, it's kind of like a guy out of time, because he's a ghost.
You're talking about the original?
Yeah. So he just developed like the look. That's all him. And that he ad-libbed like 90% of his lines in that movie.
Totally buy that. Totally buy that.
Yeah. So, but according to him, he's seen the sequel and he says that it is really good and it's beautiful. He said the other one was fun and exciting visually. It's all that, but really kind of beautiful, interesting, emotional here and there. I wasn't really ready for that, but it's great.
So hold on. You say that Michael Keaton saw the footage for the sequel,
and he likes.
But yet you're not confident that it's coming out.
That's right. That is how I roll.
But it's already. I'm assuming it's in post-production then.
Yeah.
To have more faith, Cory. Jesus Christ.
No, never.
Is he in the second movie? A stupid question, but I'm assuming he is.
Back.
Like he's reprising his role.
He is. It is a reprisal. So it's great. The cast is great. Catherine O'Hara. If you thought she was funny the first time, double it. She's so funny.
She's a goddamn Canadian saint, if I say so myself.
So as you know,
she's returning.
Is. She's returning as Delia Dietz, and Winona Ryder's coming back as Lydia.
So one of the things I hope for with this movie is that I don't know about you, but I absolutely adored the cartoon. Like the cartoon for me was almost as good as the movie. Movie was great, but the cartoon was amazing.
Yeah, we watched the cartoon. Miss Ava, the little one, she loves it.
Is it streaming anywhere?
I don't know if it's streaming. I have it other means.
Anyway, I just remember loving that cartoon. Like even the intro and everything about it was just it brings me right back to when I was 8, 9 years old. I want to say I was about that age.
And now back to Beetlejuice.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Everything about this sequel makes me hope and pray that it does justice for the first movie and then also for the cartoon. Because I think people talk a lot about, the first movie and it's a sequel to the first movie, but people need to realize that the cartoon, in my opinion anyway, and I could be on an island by myself, but the cartoon had its own spot in the lore of Beetlejuice. Like it was amazing,
It's kind of like Batman 89 and the animated series.
100%. 100% it was. Yeah.
There's kids who grew up with the movie, then there's kids who grew up with the cartoon.
Yeah.
Went 4 seasons.
The cartoon did. Yeah, see, and that's, you know what? If you think about it, back then, you think about the 80s and like, Reagan had deregulated marketing to kids and, commercials turning into cartoons and cartoons being created just because it was another ploy for commercials.
Yep.
The fact that it went 4 seasons in the 80s it's pretty outstanding. Like it left its mark, so to speak.
Beetlejuice,
And
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
and I feel like the movie when it came out, it wasn't like a blockbuster. It wasn't, it wasn't like a Batman '89. It wasn't, or maybe it was. I could be wrong, but I feel like it wasn't.
Like you go on a tangent and then you know what? I could be wrong about this.
No, but I feel though like the movie itself wasn't like it wasn't like a blockbuster movie for whatever year that it came out. I feel like it was one of those ones that snuck under the rug. People enjoyed it. It made its mark, but it wasn't a true blockbuster.
So it opened to 8 million.
Can I just say
in 88? Yep.
that I appreciate how quick you are on the computer right now.
Well,
finding all those facts.
So yeah, opened to 8 million. It went on to have a worldwide gross of 74 million. 74.6 domestic. It only made 171,000 internationally.
I think that's still a good number, though.
Yeah, and it almost looks
What
like
was it? What was
almost all of it came in the UK. 163,000.
We were talking about finding a segment for me,
Mhm.
and I still feel like that segment is guess what year the movie came out. So I'm going to take a stab. This movie came out in 1988, right?
March 30th, 88.
Fuck. See, there's our segment right there.
I don't nothing here about budget, but I can't imagine that it was all that big. Couple mil.
That's still pretty good though. It was good. It was like a Christopher Nolan movie that used original graphics or whatever you want to call it. No CGI.
Yeah, practical stop motion animation, right?
Yeah,
for some things.
like just amazing. Just amazing.
Claymation, miniatures.
We need to watch that movie. We need to do a review of it.
I'll watch it again. I have no problems. No quarrels. Watching it for like the 800th million time. Well, let's take a breather and come back with our regular fun segment of Geek News.
There's something strange in the neighborhood.
So who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Each sold separately.
Have no fear. Venkman, Stamps, and Spangler are here. So are these ghosts. They've got ectoplasm. We've been goofed. Now what? Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Let's show this pile of dessert who's boss. Activate Neutrona Blaster. We ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Peter Venkman, Ectoplasm, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and other figures each sold separately. Ghostbusters, new from Kenner.
Man, everything's always sold separately.
So, two things on this. Number one, I vividly remember those toys, and I had them, and I loved them. Like the twirly, and you'd put the little thing, and it would twirl, and then the goop. And yeah, I remember it vividly. The second thing is that when I was flying down here, I was in Montreal, and I meant to text you to see if you could send me a copy, if there was one that exists, of Afterlife, because I went on every streaming platform that I had on my iPad or iPhone and couldn't find it. So, takeaway for tonight's episode, if you can send me a copy of Afterlife, I would much appreciate that. But man, like the Ghostbusters toys,
The real Ghostbusters.
Like they were amazing. Like they were amazing because I don't recall, and I could be wrong, but I don't recall there being a toy where like goop came with the toys.
Maybe Turtles with the ooze.
Yeah, but I think even with Turtles, it was like it was only for a select moment, like the Secret of the Ooze Part 2 kind of thing,
Yeah,
and
fair
then
enough.
but with Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, it was almost like part and parcel, like you came with it. And that commercial was just I love it. That's why people need to watch on Open Collar on YouTube.
That's right.
Not visual.
YouTube.com/@open. You got to be visual.
Have to be. What was your favorite? Hold on. What was your favorite?
Holding on, sir.
Who was your favorite Ghostbuster growing up? From the toys perspective, not from the movies, but from the toy perspective. Because you're a huge Ghostbuster fan.
Yeah, I would say it was B. Venkman because of the movie, but translated to the cartoon to the toys.
And the blonde hair, and yeah.
Like part of me was just like, they could have tried to make them look like the movie characters. I understand the, going a little.
So are you surprised that they haven't made Ghostbuster toys based off of Afterlife? And I'm thinking the one like not the one with the female. I'm thinking the one with like Paul Rudd and whatnot. I'm surprised they haven't made a toy line for that.
Yeah, there's not much merch for that. Like I know they did some like Comic-Con, the
like exclusives or whatnot.
Yeah, stuff like that. But more like hyper realistic figures for like the Hot Toys and stuff like that of the original Ghostbusters, but nothing tied to the new movies. I don't believe. Not that I've seen.
They are definitely an underrated toy line of the '80s, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, it's just the real Ghostbusters cartoon, and then the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Geek News, boom.
Don't digress. So one movie we don't think we've talked too much about with rumors and all this crap is the new Captain America.
Okay.
Well, the ones with Deadpool and Fantastic Four and Kang and all that stuff, but not really looking into this one because it's the next one after.
Is this immediately following Deadpool 3?
I think it's the next one it's in the can, as they say.
Okay.
If they shot it, they're doing reshoot.
See, that's not good.
They all do reshoots. That's the sad thing about it is that it sucks that when you make a movie and you decide, you know what, we're gonna have to reshoot a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah. Hey, so we're gonna call you back to the principal's office. We're gonna have to reshoot a month's worth of whatever. Yeah,
like this one for sure. Like they're reshooting a lot because they've decided to, as they say, it's rumored to have said that they've decided to drop Serpent Society from the movie.
Right.
And go with something different.
Well, and if you remember, like Kevin Feige years ago, and I think this is even before Endgame, they had announced at one of the Comic-Cons, probably San Diego, where they actually were intending to do a Serpent Society TV show or probably a movie at the time because I don't think Disney Plus was around. Yeah, like part of me holds out hope that Disney is just pushing in all their chips on Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And hoping that ignites the interest for future iterations of the MCU, which I believe, if done right, and from the trailer we talked about it last week, is the right path. But it scares me that they might need to be doing all these reshoots for nothing, you know?
I think they're they're polishing a turd more or less.
Well,
'Cause they don't know what they're
essentially,
doing?
that's they're putting lipstick on a pig, right? And it's still a pig. And I
Mhm.
think they need to. I mean, we're not in the industry. We're not, insiders or anything like that. But we just look at what's presented to us and the news and the leaks and the stories that we see. And I feel like they just need to, you had just said right now that they're going to do massive reshoots for Captain America 4. We've already heard about what's happening with, Thunderbolts, and they're redoing the whole thing, and it's just like, why don't you just stop?
Thunderbolts, or as we're calling it, Marvel's Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah, and that's even the thing. Like, even that's a part of the problem, is that the whole point of the Suicide Squad in DC is that they the characters die, and they're not dying. I mean, they don't die. We've seen a couple of iterations of Suicide Squad. Now, granted, with Thunderbolts, like, aside from Bucky, I don't care who lives or dies. Maybe they should die. Like, they should. There should be repercussions for it, but you can't, because maybe the new Black Widow is the one that you're hoping will carry on the Black Widow trademark moving forward, but you don't even know what you're doing. And that's what I think with Marvel. They just, these reshoots, and now, having said that, they talk about, like, how long ago was Captain America 4 announced? A long time ago.
Yeah.
How long ago was Thunderbolts announced? A long time ago.
I think at
So
the
maybe
same
these are just
time.
100%. And so these are a couple of examples of them being, kind of caught in their own web that they need to kind of get out of. And the hope is that maybe after they've kind of gone beyond these movies, they can right the ship and do what they're supposed to do. But to hear these stories about Thunderbolts and Captain America rewrites and delays and all this shit, like, you're kind of losing interest.
Yeah, I'm curious
I
as to what
mean, me as a comic book fan, and you as a comic book fan, like, we both love the true medium. We're having a hard time buying into it. And if we're having a hard time buying into it, those people that are supposed to be those shoo-ins, like, what do you say about the casual viewer? Especially after all of the fuck ups that they've had since Shang-Chi.
And Shang-Chi.
Right, yeah, exactly.
All the fuck ups and Shang-Chi.
But that was a good movie, though. That was the first movie that came out of COVID, and that was probably the best movie that they've had since then. Well, maybe No Way Home. But aside from that,
What about Guardians 3? Multiverse of Madness. The Marvels.
no, I don't think so.
None of them.
None of them.
So it looks like possibly we're going to get some payoffs now from teases that we've had over the past decade with the Marvel movies. Because I sent you earlier, they're apparently going to be, the plot for Brave New World is supposed to incorporate adamantium. And
Called it.
The frozen celestial, what's Tiamat, or I'm saying that wrong?
Yeah, Tiamat, yeah.
Is that's main plot. And then also we're bringing back Mr. the Leader.
The Thinker. Or, the Leader. The Thinker.
The Thinker. Come on,
But yeah,
that's the Flash.
he was coming back. I think he was announced like for a while.
Stearns, right? Samuel Stearns.
But we talked about this episodes ago where there was a rumor going around that the Celestial that we saw at the end of the Eternals would be what introduces the X-Men, or specifically Magneto, because that Celestial had adamantium and he was going to try and harvest it. So if that's the case, like if they decide to do that, and we're kind of starting to see the sprinkles of the X-Men in the MCU, which is great. Like the way they've done it so far is fantastic. We saw, Professor X in Multiverse of Madness. We saw the Beast and I can't remember her name at the end of the Marvels. So we're starting to slowly
Binary.
introduce Binary. Thank you. Starting to slowly introduce mutants. Well, and I guess you could even say Miss Marvel to that extent. So we're starting to see sprinklings of mutants. So yeah, it would make sense that if that celestial head had adamantium, then Magneto would want to come and grab it. But I feel like that would be a wasted opportunity to introduce him, because he is such a huge character in that mutant universe that you're wasting it on the Eternals that happened 3 years ago that haven't made an impact in the MCU since, and it was just a kind of foregone conclusion. And they're going to use that as the means to bring him in. I feel like you're wasting that opportunity.
I think they have reliance too much on MacGuffins.
On what, sorry?
The MacGuffins, like an object they all have to go after. It's like this one is the race for the adamantium.
Yeah.
Which, like, they had to get the Infinity Stones. They had to get the Tesseract. They had to get the...
I feel like what's happening with the MCU right now is exactly what happened with DC Comics when they first introduced Crisis on Infinite Earths, where in the comic books they just got so expanded that they had to bring it in, blow it up, and they used Crisis on Infinite Earths to kind of reel it in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like the MCU has now got caught in a situation where they've expanded too much.
Yeah, and funny, like they're expanding further, right?
Yeah, and there's no guardrails.
Universe, and yeah,
and you would hope to say, like, you would hope to think that the Fox universe, the Sony universe, whatever, they bring it in through the Secret Wars and they just level it out and they start from scratch, like they start over again. But will they? I don't know.
I think I'm gonna have to move to the next point I was making because I don't want to keep this picture of Tim Blake Nelson on anymore.
Yeah, we totally didn't even talk about the Thinker.
The point of the
is
the promo art apparently got leaked of his look of what he's gonna look like in the movie.
Okay.
That's closer to what the actual comic book version.
What am I looking at right now? I'm on a phone, so I can't quite.
Okay,
see.
so if you look at this center here area, he's got the elongated head with hair and a beard. So he's kind of, I don't know if he's gonna be green like in the comics, but anyway, that's who the leader is supposed to look like, apparently, from whatever this promo art is.
Well, and the leader, so the leader does have the color green.
Well, it's Hulk, right? He's a Hulk villain.
Yeah. So, okay, cool.
Hooray!
But that's it. Like, do people remember him from the original?
Probably because no one remembers the Edward Norton Hulk period.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do people actually remember him? And he comes back, and we have to keep in mind that the MCU started in 2008. We're now 2024. Like, we are quite a ways of
like since
the origin point. that do we expect people to not only remember like what happened between 2008 and 2020 or 2018 when Endgame came out,
Mhm.
but even before that, right? Like you're gonna have kids that are teenagers now going to the movies, and you're gonna expect them to remember who this guy was, and he was a very, I wouldn't say minuscule part of that Hulk movie, but he wasn't that memorable. I think might be the best word to use.
No, because it was the guy who was helping Bruce try to get rid of the Hulk, and at the end he gets bumped in, so he gets basically talked into creating the Abomination, and during the Abomination's freak out, he gets knocked around, bumps his head on the computer table, and then Banner's blood drips onto this open
Okay,
wound, right?
so let me ask you, when was the last time you saw that movie?
6 years ago, maybe.
Fuck, can you remember that shit? Okay, I thought you just watched it. I thought that's why
No.
you remembered. I
The
was gonna
picture,
totally
honestly,
call out another point,
the
but
picture made me
you,
remember it. Made me remember it. So
yeah,
we'll
you,
say that. We'll give credit to the Google image search of that movie, copy paste. Is
you
coaxing
just
memory.
talked like you had seen it last night, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna
No.
call you out on that, and you're like, no, I saw it 6 years ago. Like, my mind is like an iron trap.
Yeah, of useless stuff.
Mr.
The important things I
Mr. Cory
never
Bulis.
remember. Yeah,
That's right. Exactly.
So the rumored plot here again is Tiamat is the MacGuffin. That's the adamantium.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a grounded political thriller. I don't know how you get that with respect to.
Well, they're trying to
metals.
replicate Winter Soldier.
Of course.
Essentially, is what they're doing.
They're going back to Wakanda. Sharon Carter as the power broker is supposed to be involved.
Yeah.
And some of the new Avengers apparently are supposed. That's going to be a setup at one of the credit scenes.
Like a setup for the new Avengers?
Well, set up for the next Avengers movie, 5.
So here's the thing. Like here's
what's
where
the team?
Yeah.
And no one even talked about fucking Ross going to be in it. Like Harrison Ford. Like how small is his role going to be? Is he going to turn into Red Hulk and that's it?
Here's the problem with like you can have this movie be the best movie in the creation or in the history of the MCU. Perfect. Greatest movie ever. But you are slowly introducing and positioning yourself to introduce the X-Men. Where how could you conceive a world where you would have the premier lineup of the X-Men, Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, whatever, against your D-list Avengers? Because that's kind of where we're at right now with the Avengers, is we're at the D-list. And maybe you could talk me up to a C-list. But we are not at the A-list. We are not at the Iron Man. We're not the Captain America. We're not at the Hawkeye. Like we're not at the Thor. Like granted,
Hawkeye.
Chris Hemsworth will likely reprise that role till he's unable to, because it seems like he really loves that role, and good on him. Like he's great. He achieves and portrays that character properly. But you can't, as a movie producing company, you can't get to the point where you're fully introducing the first lineup of the X-Men, and then you're gonna dole out, because in the comics, if you remember, there was a storyline called Avengers versus X-Men. Wasn't that great, but you know what? For movie purposes, it will do what it's supposed to do. You can't roll
you
out
said your D-list, so I don't think it will.
But you can't. Like you're gonna need to. You're gonna need to introduce a new Captain America, new Iron Man.
Well, they do. It says Sam's the new Captain America.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm not trying to be a racist or anything, but I'm talking about like the
OG. Trying to be, but we're gonna be.
No. But no. But I'm talking about the OG Avengers. Like you can't have the 1963 Avengers that are the first Avengers that were created against the first X-Men that were created in the MCU when you've already retired the Avengers essentially. So it all comes down to Secret Wars. It all comes down to Deadpool. It all comes down to what's the approach. And I've been saying this since like phase 2. I think even before I was a regular member of this podcast, was that they will get to a point, the MCU will get to a point where they will have no choice but to create a storyline where they recast like the main Avengers. Like and don't just think about the movies, but think about like the merchandise, think about everything, the toys, the clothes, the backpacks, you can't rely on Sam Wilson being Captain America because he's not the Captain America that, when you think of it from a merchandise perspective, is Captain America.
Which is crazy, right? Because you can get away with that with Miles.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. Is it
So I think
because
it's probably,
though?
I was just saying, maybe it's because of it was a character that they built from the ground up to be that character in another universe that they brought in to the main one, right? The Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point because I haven't thought about it until you just said it. But if I think about like, walking through Walmart or Giant Tiger, or, GameStop or whatever, and you see Captain America, like you just see Captain America as Steve Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
But then in those same stores, you can walk in and you can see Spider-Man being Peter Parker or Miles Morales. And either or is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great point. You just kind of threw me off for a loop. So
damn, there goes the rant.
Yeah, honest to God, it's
and it also could be because they run parallel with each other too, right? It's not like one had to go away for someone to take over. Like they're both still riding high.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, but I feel like, that being said, because we even saw a glimpse. What was it? What MCU movie was it where Captain America came out on the deck and it was like Wanda Vision, and it was supposed to be like the introduction to the new Avengers.
Oh, it was after as the ending of Ultron.
Okay, Age of Ultron, yeah.
Yeah. Now,
I
they're effectively gone.
I feel that as a company. So as I'm saying this out loud, I'm thinking, you could probably introduce the members of the X-Men in the MCU and merchandise them, and it'd be fine. They'd sell a lot of products, and then you can piggyback off of that for whatever your new Avengers are.
So your Avengers go away, the X-Men takes over, then you bring the Avengers back when that one's dying off.
But I feel like there will come a point in whatever phase it is, depending on how long this goes on, that it will be the Avengers versus the X-Men, which was a storyline in the comics from, I want to say, like 2015, give or take. You can't have the A-list of X-Men facing a B or C-list Avengers. You just can't. You can't do it.
I think, casting could help that too.
In what sense? Like recasting Captain America and...
Oh, no. Like, what if you just cast the worst Scott Summers again? Or you just cast the worst Wolverine?
No, but they would be coming... No, because...
Do you think really, we would have loved T'Challa and Black Panther if it wasn't Chadwick at the time? Like, it was just catching lightning.
100%. 100%. I think Chadwick Boseman? What's his last name?
Boseman.
Hey, check that down for butchering names. I think he was a great Black Panther, but I think anyone who would have been casted in that role would have propelled that character to the heights that it went. I don't think it was because of
It's the
him.
right time.
What's that?
It was the right time.
Oh, for sure it was. And that's why I say like it they will we are fast approaching in the next 2-3 years, we are fast approaching a timeline where we are going to be introduced to the MCU's version of the X-Men. And Disney, I'm assuming and hoping they will use that as the next team to propel them to the next phase in conjunction with Fantastic Four. But there will come a time where the Avengers will need to come back and there'll be a rift, and you can't afford to have the D-list Avengers. You can't. So I'm right. Podcast over. Done.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Yeah.
So we talked about Serpent Society getting removed. We talked about another project that didn't happen. So after when Fox was its own separate entity and Deadpool was their property and their basically their new X-Men thing to exploit, they were going to do an X-Force movie because they introduced the X-Force in the second one, Deadpool 2. Well, apparently the writer for that movie said, guess who the villain of that movie was going to be?
Mojo.
Deadpool himself was supposed to be the villain of the canceled X-Force film.
Makes no sense.
So do you
and
feel
this is why Fox Studios should not make superhero movies and just pass the reins over. Here we are bitching about MCU and Disney and whatnot, and then we get a story like this from Fox, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, part of me feels sometimes Deadpool is the enemy of his own franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I
you're
go back
right.
and forth.
Like,
I go back and forth on that.
I think I'm right there with you, where like I am exactly right there with you, where half of me is like Deadpool is the best character to propel a studio in the movies that they want to make. Yet at the same time, he is the worst character because of the overusage, right? Like because of it's almost like a lazy approach in a sense, right?
Like his to have like the self-awareness and the self-deprecating and the meta and all that stuff.
Yeah, like you saw Ryan Reynolds, and obviously the first Deadpool and the second one, it was refreshing to see him break the fourth wall and make it a movie that was very intriguing and people could latch on to it, people could enjoy it, people could look forward to what was coming next, to now over exploiting it a little bit, And I guess I guess the big thing with the story though, Cory, is like would Deadpool or not Deadpool, would Cory or Ryan Reynolds be into doing that?
Oh, probably. He loves playing the character. It reignited his career, right? So I don't think he'll say no. I'm sure
But I think he would
have to be very, very, very heavy involvement.
Yeah, but there would be some creative guardrails that he would have in place. Like he's a smart enough individual, and like you can see everything that he's done. Like he's smart enough to know what makes money and what earns money.
Yeah.
That would he be smart enough to say like, okay, these are the guardrails I'm playing with. If you want me to be the villain in this adaptation, these are kind of the rules that we need to play within. Because listen, like everything the guy touches is gold, and I have a huge man crush on Ryan Reynolds. Always have, always will. Yeah, but like I don't think that he would put himself in a position to squander a property, I guess you could say.
Yeah, another point I think too is, does he get to the point where, like now that it's the MCU, where he has played this character now 2 times, he's built this world. Now you're bringing it over here to, Kevin Feige's sandbox, and which one's going to win out? Like, this is how I see the character running. Well, this is how the character is, because I'm in Marvel. This is what we do, and this is how we're going to want to put him, and who's going to win out at that.
I feel like him coming over to Marvel though and working with Kevin Feige, like you have to remember Kevin Feige was the original brain that came up with the MCU and his original vision, and it kind of slipped away from him, I guess you could say, as the phases went on, but it was his idea to create this intertwining movie. So with Ryan Reynolds coming over and entering the sandbox of Kevin Feige, I think you combine Ryan Reynolds' creativity with Kevin Feige's creativity. I think they can work well together. Like, I think Ryan would be smart enough to appreciate the creativity that Feige wants to do, and vice versa, that they can make that character more important to the MCU. I don't know. Like, I feel like it would be. You know what? Let's talk about this at the end of July and see what the movie brings. All right.
Fair enough.
Because I hold a lot of hope for Deadpool and Wolverine, and we've talked about like the Multiverse of Madness. We talked about No Way Home. We've talked about all these other movies, and I would peg Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home as the top two, but we pegged them as like the hope to get the MCU out of the rut that it's in. But I would say that I'm probably pushing the majority, if not all of my chips into the table for Deadpool and Wolverine to be that movie that actually kind of sets things right again, as it should be. Like, what's your take on it? Do you have that much hope in that movie, or?
No.
That's a long pause.
I don't. I don't.
My God.
I think we're gonna have the same, like, it's gonna be all sizzle, no steak. I think, unfortunately, I think it's gonna take what we liked at the time of No Way Home and blow it up and just cameo, bringing everybody back. Just for the look, this person was in a movie once. This person was in a movie once.
But hold on. What if they bring back the cameos for a purpose, which is to consolidate all of the universes to make one true universe, which would lead into Secret Wars?
Right, I get that. But then at the same time, like, you could just do that without having to bring, like, we already know people they went to. Like, we know in the Fox Deadpool universe that there's a Juggernaut. Well, they went to Vinnie Jones to play Juggernaut again.
Yeah. He turned it down.
He turned it down. Like, we're bringing an Elektra, which we already have an Elektra back, right? Like, they're doing. I know, like, what we might have Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, not Captain America in this, because he said he'd be down for it.
I hope, and this is just a guilty pleasure of mine, but I hope that Ben Affleck comes back as Daredevil. Because I love that movie. I love Daredevil.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
I love it. So, I just don't like the pessimism, if that's the right word. We need hope, Cory. We need hope.
It could be fun, but I don't think, like, it's gonna be one of those ones where I think, like, maybe diminishing returns every time I watch No Way Home. Like,
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Like, you're like, oh, this is fun. No, that was not fun to see that guy. Then you watch it again, like, that wasn't needed.
Well, or even that you go to watch the movie initially, and you have hopes in that it will begin to rethread the storyline, and then the next movie comes out and doesn't even acknowledge it. So I can kind of see, that as well as what you just said, where
and like
the law of diminishing
returns. For casual viewers, I think you would have more people going to see Deadpool for Deadpool than people seeing it because they're Marvel fans. 100%. So having the Fox universe
going to see it for Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah, and then you have, like, and those people are probably ones that have seen an X-Men movie or have seen Affleck's Daredevil, which is cool. But then they're going to go in and going, what is the TVA? What is this other thing that was on Disney Plus that I don't subscribe to?
Right.
What is this
No,
thing?
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So I think for some people it might be fun with the cameos, and some people might be confused for the stuff that I don't subscribe to and don't know what's going on.
Well, I really appreciate you bringing my hopes all the way down. So
yeah.
So for that, thank you. Thank you.
For those reasons,
Cory.
I'm out.
Exactly. Podcast over. Episode over.
Well, you
129 next week.
But I'll still see it, and I'm sure I'll have a good time. But I like Deadpool. I wasn't overly crazy about Deadpool 2.
It's funny. You think about Deadpool as a character, and he was introduced in the 90s, very much stolen by Rob Liefeld as
Deathstroke, right?
As Deathstroke, essentially, yeah. And I mean, you could all bitch about how bad Liefeld is as an artist and like the tropes that he uses as an artist and whatnot, but the fact that he's actually now made a good chunk of change from Deadpool because of Ryan Reynolds, that's fascinating.
You want to start another fight? I got another one.
Let's do it. Yeah.
You're all over. I'm sure you saw this all over social this week with Zack Snyder's comments about Batman on the Joe Rogan podcast.
So, okay, no, this is not what I heard. What I heard was that Zack Snyder said that he bets more people saw Rebel Moon than they
Same
did.
Podcast. Yeah.
Was it the same podcast? Because like I heard that he said that more people saw Rebel Moon than they did Barbie, and I was like, okay, well that's a bit aggressive. I haven't seen either, so I don't know, but that's a pretty.
Yeah, well, that's my point. So, like, I think somebody did the math on it. So, based on dollars, took an average ticket price. So, they're saying I think they figured out that 115 million people would have seen Barbie. Putting that into Netflix's subscribers, that's more than half who've had to have sat down and watched that movie.
It's two different comparisons, though.
What's like that? Like, I know no one who saw Rebel Moon. I know some people who saw Barbie, and those people who saw Barbie saw it out of curiosity. People didn't see Rebel Moon because the reviews were crap.
Yeah. 100%.
So, if it was, people saw this was good, I need to check it out. But if I heard it was shit, I'm not going to watch it.
I feel like Zack Snyder is an individual that will sometimes put his own foot in his mouth with comments, because I feel like
I'm gonna make a comparison when you're done, and you tell me if you agree with it. So go finish your point.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like Zack Snyder's he's drinking too much of the defensive Kool-Aid, which I've seen him do time and time again with like Justice League, with 300, with Watchmen, and they all have different, like, he's saying a different thing, but if you boil down to the root cause of him saying things about those movies, it's him defending those movies. And like, what point do you just say, like, fuck, dude, like, chill out?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be so defensive. And I could be wrong, but that's just kind of my on the surface take of Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder is another version of Michael Bay.
Oh my God, yes, he is.
Because Michael Bay will defend
100%.
the fuck out of his movies,
right?
No matter how bad they are,
and he'll come up with something. And there might be points where, like, it's valid that he comes up with it, sure. But then the other points where it's like, what are you talking about, buddy? 100%, Cory.
His best movies, and I said this because I was going back and forth with people on threads on it, and not saying anything bad, nothing, just making points like that. But his best movies are adapted material that have a start, a middle, and an end. When he gets in there and writes his shit, that's when people have problems with it. Like he can take something and adapt a material that knows a narrative from start to finish, but when he has to create his own narrative, it's not working out for him.
So if you think about his two best movies,
300 and Watchmen.
300 and Watchmen, he and I'll say this bluntly, like The Watchmen, even to this day, was the best frame for frame adaptation of any storyline ever.
Yep.
And for our viewers and listeners out there, if you haven't read Watchmen by Alan Moore, you need to do this. You need to do this. So 300 Watchmen, absolute best. But then to your point, yeah, you start to get into the other like Justice, like but having said that, how much do you fault Zack Snyder? Because he was basically hired to front run the DCEU based off of the successes of 300 and The Watchmen.
No, I don't fault him for that. I fault Warner Brothers. Imagine we could fault Warner Brothers like any day of the week.
100%.
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
100%.
But where the argument comes into is when he, again, to your point, defending is his comments that he made with respect to how people feel about Batman. He said, people are always like, Batman can't kill, so Batman can't kill his canon. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I want to do is when you say that is that I want to see what happens. And they go, well, don't put him in a situation where he has to kill someone. And I'm like, well, that's just like you're protecting your God in a weird way. You make your God irrelevant.
See, that's bullshit, though.
Right?
That's bullshit.
And we'll establish that seemingly every iteration of this character on film has killed. He's killed in the comics, but he's killed when there was no other way out. I never saw Batman vs Superman, but I've heard that he basically like has machine guns and just opens up firing on like thugs in a room. Like he goes out of his way to kill for the sake of killing, not because there's no possible way for this to end. So no, he doesn't, but he doesn't need to, and that's what makes him different. But again, you're not protecting your God. You're taking a character who is his whole message, his whole ideal is to do what the criminals won't, which is find other means to take him down.
I guess my first question after that comment, and I'm assuming this is what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my first question is, like, why do you need to feel like you need to change Batman's character?
There is this thing in Hollywood where they feel the need for finality. So if you're telling a story and you want it to end, you have to kill the character off to move on to the next character. It's lazy writing.
Right, 100%. And isn't it so ironic that Hollywood's like that, yet we live in a society now where in 2024, we're going to have 26 sequels or readaptations or continuations of a story. And it's like, really? So you're telling me in one side of your mouth that we need finalization with the or with the character and whatnot, but then yet you will go and I just, I guess it's Hollywood, right? That's why we're not in the industry. But I feel like Zack Snyder, like you just tell a Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
Like you literally have 60 years of mythos.
Yeah.
And you can read every single one of those stories, like from Scott Snyder, from, Frank Miller, from Tom King, from all of these other, like, obviously Bob Gale, like all of these people that have told stories over the decades. You could literally read every one and come up with a story. You don't need to be the definitive person of that character. As a matter of fact, you should be honored that you had the opportunity to write a story about that character and leave it open
Yeah.
for whoever else wants to interpret it, i.e. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Told his own story, didn't give a shit. That was the story. He was done after 3. Boom. But I hate like the ownership of I feel like he's got short man syndrome over his version of the DCEU, like his version of I feel like he's got short man syndrome.
Yeah, he's
where
punching
he
up.
He just gets so offended by everything that's you know what, take the good with the bad. You had a lot of bad, but the good was Man of Steel. Like Man of Steel was a great movie. Build off that. Don't focus so much on the bad parts of it, which was everything else essentially.
Yeah.
But just be a Hollywood producer. And I think that like doesn't lead to, I don't know, if I was an executive of the studio and I wanted someone to create this universe, I don't know that I would go to Zack Snyder, or I just don't know that I would. Because I'd feel like he would have such a chip on his shoulder if it wasn't his way.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case for sure.
So,
and the thing is with him too, because he has such a dedicated vocal fan base that I'm sure that, you know, fuels the ego even more.
But I feel like that fan base is not as big as
but they're
we
vocal.
perceive it to be.
They're very vocal. You should like the stuff I've seen of people going after anybody who says that they disagree or says that he clearly doesn't understand the characters. You should hear them go off.
Yeah,
it is.
But then
insane.
we get into a whole other
rabbit hole.
This is the society we live in. That you know, if whoever's loud enough is who's right, and that's not the case. You could be the quietest person in the room with the most valid point, but if you're not the loudest, then it's not your way; it's the highway.
So that was that.
Anyway, so fuck Zack Snyder.
Here come the emails. Well, ending on something fun. I saw this.
Okay. Yeah.
It's fun, but also at the same time, it could also be depressing. Lego unveiled. Boom.
I saw this.
Batman the animated series.
Oh, I saw this.
Skyline. Wall hanging.
Yeah.
The depressing part for me is that it's like $400 and I have no place to put it.
Yeah. So I saw
4,200 pieces. 4,200 motherfucking pieces. And then there's also the minifigs that come with it. Look how gorgeous that is.
Hold on. Is that the only amount of figs that come with it?
Yes.
Jesus.
But do you need more? You got Catwoman.
So
you got Joker.
You know this.
Kevin
about
Conroy
me,
and Mark Hamill, like in Lego form.
Yeah.
I'll go back to Skyline because
I kind of feel deflated that there was just the 4 characters, and that kind of just popped the bubble into what I was just gonna say, because you know me, and our family is very big on Lego.
Yes.
And we buy Lego sets, and like it's a family thing. Oliver, our oldest, has the Daily Bugle, and he saved up a lot of money, and it was a good.
Wow, that thing's huge.
It was a good.
Like 30 figs in it.
It's massive. It's massive. Yeah, and
it's got like the entire Spider-Man Rogues gallery.
Good on him. He saved up and he did what he needed to do to save up the money to get it.
Yep.
And I see this and I'm like, oh yeah, like I totally want to buy it, but
yeah,
I don't know that I would have more than 50% of the household as the yay in the vote. So I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. But my God, I want this so bad. And then when you showed the 4 characters, like that's deflating.
I feel as though this is one of those things where you're going to hang it, and you're just going to hear one night because you missed the stud.
Right, 100%, 100%. But what was it, $4.99? Do you
$3.89 or something? But still,
do you take the kids to the Lego store at Rito?
We've been
do
one
you
time.
Go there?
No, we've only went one time. and that was to go to the Disney store before they closed it. And
Okay.
when we got there, it was effectively closed. There was like nothing in the store. But no, they go to Toys R Us stuff, but they like Lego. We thought they'd liked it more, so they got a ton of kits at Christmas.
Yeah.
Parker lost interest like halfway through the first one. But what they liked more about
I'm done.
yeah, what they like more to do is just take the bricks and make whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
So
you're
like,
not following the instructions.
They got 2 of the Lego classics, and they spend more time with that. Like they're upstairs on our kitchen table, just completely covered with the plates, and they made their own town.
You know, there's an app for that though, eh? Like, there's an app. I can't remember the name of it, but
yeah, you can like scan your bricks, and it tells you.
Yeah, and it tells you what you can make out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that our family is very good about is, we get these Lego sets and we build them as a family. And this would be one that I would love to do, but Jade will just fucking shoot this down with a silver bullet as soon as it comes up. Like,
you
what
have
the fuck
too
do
much.
we need this for? We have too much. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's my problem. I got the Simpson house and the Quickie Mart sitting over on our stands over there.
Do you have it right behind you?
Not right behind me, over in a corner that I can't see from.
Sorry for the audio listeners, but for the viewers, can you quickly go grab it?
Even for the no, it's way back. There's too much stuff in the way.
Oh, god damn it! Okay, next week.
I will sneak a peek
because I'm curious. It's the Simpsons house.
Yep.
And then what was the other one?
The Quickie Mart.
Shit. Was that one set that you bought together?
No, they're 2 different sets. 2 different years. When Lego had the license for the Simpsons, the first one was the Simpsons house, and then the next year they did the Quickie Mart, and I think that was the end of their license.
That's amazing.
I'll get one thing. Talk amongst yourself, because it's just
talk amongst yourselves. So I absolutely love Lego. Like, we all love Lego. But just taking the amount of time to just build it and pass it around to. He's back.
Yeah, so I have the Adam West Batmobile.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's a legit set that you bought from Lego?
Oh, I didn't buy it. It was
sorry, I'm blind. I don't have my glasses on me, so I can see had to turn the camera sideways.
Here's Cesar Romero.
Oh, amazing.
And Adam.
Sick.
Yep. She's just in the office,
you know what? These audio listeners.
Hey,
you're so.
We actually did very, very, very well audio wise this past week.
I would say so. So okay, let me ask you this one thing just on Lego.
Sure.
If you could have Lego make one set available, just one set, what would it be? I have a feeling I know what it is, but I'm gonna ask you.
I think they have done everything that I can think of, or that I would have gotten. It's put away, but I do have the Ecto one from Ghostbusters.
Oh,
I don't have the Firehouse though. I didn't.
That's my guess. That was my guess. My guess.
I would have got it, but it was I couldn't justify the spend and where to put it because it was so big.
Oh, so they actually made one?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I didn't know that. Shit.
They sure did, man.
Okay. How much was it? Do you remember?
I was at the time. It was probably 4. What was 5? Now because they don't make it anymore, you're looking at it's $4.99. Sorry, $3.99. So $400. We'll screen share that one.
And was it did you have the fire the?
Oh yeah, she opened up.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can't see anything again because you're on your phone.
No, I can. All right. Kind of see it.
So it opened up.
So it opened up on both sides.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's Janine. Slimer, all these guys getting, and there's your hook and ladder.
Oh, that's wicked. So my favorite piece that I don't think was made, because it was, so Lego has this thing where you can like submit ideas, and like if it gets chosen and voted on, it will be what it is. They had a series of the Mask toys. And so they had Thunderhawk, like the Camaro with Matt Tracker and whatnot, and then they had the plane. Can't remember his name, but yeah, they had that, and it was like that would have been freaking amazing.
Yeah, I think I have the Big Bang Theory set. Which one was the Lego ideas?
Nice. Yeah, we have the Queer Guys, in The Office. That was.
No, I have Friends.
Okay, nice.
The Lego, not like people. I have the Friends Lego. I don't have any friends myself.
So listen, I can't do the outro because I'm on my phone. So.
Oh, so you got nothing to read.
So thank you for watching this week's episode of Open Collar. If you would like to follow us, please go to YouTube and search Open Collar Pod.
At Open Collar Pod everywhere.
That's right. And on Facebook and on
but not
Instagram. But thank you as always for taking the time to listen and read. Always encourage comments, always encourage likes, always encourage subscribes. If you know someone that's into the geek culture, tell them about us. We try to podcast every week. And I'd say we're clipping at about a 96% rate on that.
Except for
that's all I got. I'm going on memory. And you know what? For Open Collar, I am Steve. This is Cory.
That's me.
And always make sure that your collars are popped.
Or open. And keep it geeky. And now some actually, you know what I'm saying? Now some feels good Feldman, but let's
what is going on?
I don't know. Okay. Feel good Feldman. Enjoy.
They move into my house and they literally become part of our extended family.
I'm Lynn. I'm a professional actress, model, and I'm one of Cory's angels.
I am Caitlin, and I am an aspiring actress, professional model, and Cory's angel in training.
I'm Courtney. I'm a DJ, and I'm Cory's mangel.
Hello.
Also, I'm his girlfriend. Cory has changed my life in so many ways. He uses his own connections to help me be successful.
Oh, I love you.
He's sexy and gorgeous, and I love him.
Thanks. Sorry.
Is this a polyamorous relationship?
As far as what happens behind closed doors, it stays behind closed doors.
Exactly.
We have a very kind of strict regimen. Rule number 1, we will put them on the angel diet. That means no meat of any kind.
I'm a fruitarian, which means that I only eat fruit.
Number 2, exercise. I like watching you guys hop. Number 3, we don't allow men on the property unless they're invited guests. That's how you do it. This lifestyle is not for the close-minded or faint of heart. I strive every day to do God's will.
Yay!